There we go. My touch port will find the decided work. G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to another stream here on the Australia's Tabletop Gaming Network. My name is ScottyD, and tonight we have got another South Pacific ITC Snapshot for you, taking a look at the competitive scene, looking at the top rankings for the South Pacific ITC, looking at the events that have happened, their meta, as well as the events that are coming up in the next month or so, where you can get those crucial ITC points for early on in the season. Now, over time, we will have guests joining us here on these sessions as well, on these streams, that'll be joining us for hobbying afterwards, hopefully as well. That's something I'm going to work towards going forward. It's great to see everyone in chat. For those of you who are watching us on YouTube, we do this live, generally the first week of the month. Each month we do one of these snapshots, and that way you're able to know what's going on within the competitive community when you're looking ahead to tournaments. So how's everyone doing in chat? Welcome in. Great to see you, Chief. How you doing, brother? Great to see you. And welcome into everyone else as well. Hope you're all having a great week and are looking forward to the Easter long weekend. If you're going away, travel safe, spend some time with family. Always a great time. I know that's what I am doing myself. And we've got my man Cuss coming in with the 18-month Tier 1 resub. Really appreciate that, brother. Hope you're doing well. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, I reckon let's just jump straight on into it for this evening. So, currently, there's been a lot of shakeups in terms of the top 20 players in the rankings currently. We've had a lot of big events. We had the Down Under 40K Major the last little bit ago. And so, really exciting to see that, this is the most up-to-date rankings. I checked them today. They are up to date as of today. So these are completely accurate. Maybe they just haven't been updated on BCP, but let's go through them. So we have got Alex the Greek in the #1 spot in the South Pacific, sitting on 772.71 points with only 4 events under his belt. Really absolutely coming in hard at the start of the season. Setting himself up well after his win at Dice Arcade GT. I'm pretty sure he put in a really strong performance at the Down Under 40K Major over the weekend, coming in top 10, which really means he got some solid points there as well as a few RTTs and stuff as well. Viewers may have cell phones, maybe not been able to read that. That is all good, Dan. That is all good. That's why I am reading them out as well for you guys, but also welcome on in. In second place, we've got James Mann coming in with 741 points with 5 out of 6 events. Now, everyone else that's kind of close to Alex is sitting on 5 events, with 1 being on 6. So they're really starting to get after it, get those scores in. They're going to try and improve towards the back end of the season. Then, I do know James is also based out of South Australia, so really good to see some diversity in terms of the rankings. You know, if we looked at the March update for the snapshot, we saw a lot of New South Wales players in that top region, whereas now we're starting to see a couple of players coming in from various areas across the country as well. In third place, we currently have got Joshua Brody with 727 points with 5 out of 6 events under his belt. Now, he's primarily playing demons at the moment that are quite strong in the meta, doing quite well, and I believe he did put up quite a good performance at the Down Under 40K Major as well. In fourth place, we have Chris O'Neill, who has been knocked down a little bit with only 5 events under his belt for 724 points, so he's not too far behind where Josh Brody is at, really nipping on his heels. So once Chris gets another event under his belt, he's probably going to overtake Josh, depending if Josh is playing the same event and the rankings of it as well. Then in number 5, we come into Peter O'Neill, who's on 671 points with 6 out of 6 events. So he is currently now looking to improve his scores. Now, it's interesting that out of the top 5, 4 of them are from New South Wales, but we start to get down a little lower, we start to diversify. So, getting into the 6th spot, we have Will Milton from Queensland coming in with 645 points with 4 out of 6 scores, which means he did come second at the Down Under 40K Major, which means he put up a really solid score for his 4th score, really slingshotting him up the rankings there. Then in 7th place, we have Carl Pearson with 641 points, with 4 out of 6 events as well. So not too far behind Will, only by about 3 points. Peckish Fox, how you doing in chat? Great to see you. So really interested to see how he's going to go as well. In 8th spot, we've got Shane Miller with 639 points with 4 out of 6 events. So again, it's starting to get really clustered. You'll see those first couple of plays, there's a decent gap. And after them, they're just nipping at each other's heels. As the tournament scene keeps on going for the season and more events are occurring, we may see those top gaps shorten where everyone's at each other's heels, and sometimes it could be a couple of points in it. And that can be really crucial. It could be the difference between coming 1st and 2nd in the season. So trying to get as high scores as possible is what these players are going to be trying to do, and they already are doing so. In 9th spot, you've got Dylan Cowan with 633 points with 4 out of 6 events as well. To round out the top 10, we've got Gary Morris from New South Wales, who's been running the leagues of Votan as of late with 616 points for... No worries at all, Peckish. With 4 out of 6 events as well. So once he gets another one in, if he does quite well at an RTT or something, that will launch him up once again. In 11th place, you've got Ben Wan, who is from South Australia. 610 points with 5 out of 6 events. And not a fair way behind him in 12th is Mr. Adam Napier with 560 points with 4 out of 6 events. Now, I will note that he did get knocked out of contention round 2 by Eric Lathouris at the Down Under 40K Major that happened on the weekend just gone as well. In 13th spot, you've got Bradley Mack, which he's sitting at 547 points with 4 out of 6 events. Following not too far behind, you've got Josh McMillan, who's running Orcs at the moment in the New South Wales scene, sitting at 525 points with only 4 events under his belt as well. He's another player to keep an eye out on, particularly with him being on Team Australia and going over to play in the War Master singles, as well as being a part of Team Australia. He could post maybe a result that only a couple of other people can get that result in for. So that he is another one to watch out for. Hey, Jim Tack, welcome in, brother. Great to see you. So then we've got Matt Morrisoli in 15th. Now, he has got 516 points. However, the important thing to note, he has only got 3 events under his belt. To be in the top 15 with only 3 events, we'll see where he podiums up because he's on the podium for multiple events. So really shows that he's got some strong scores coming in off the back of going to LVO and making the top 8 cut, getting knocked out in the top 4 by Sean Naden. But we won't dig into that circumstance. Then in 16th place, we've got Braden Killaby Francis with 515 points with 4 out of 6 events, 1 point behind Matt Morrisoli, but 1 event more. So that could really mean that if he gets another event in before Matt does, that Braden can leapfrog him, but we'll see what happens. There's a couple of big events coming up where a lot of these guys are going to be in attendance. In 17th place, we've got Mark Curana with 504 points with 4 out of 6 events as well. Another South Australian guy. He's the captain of the South Australian ATC team this year, and he is definitely one to watch out for. In number 18, we've got Dean Sinbeck, who's been running Black Legion as of late, as well as World Eaters. 477 points with 3 out of 6 events as well. So very similar to Matt. Didn't post as good a score, but at the same time, he's only got those 3 events under his belt. You're then looking at number 19 is Mr. Jeremy Martino, who's been faithfully running the Adeptus Sororitas as of late with 467 points with only 3 out of 6 events played. And then to round out your top 20, and I believe I have not scrolled this down for you guys, you've got Brian Lakeland on 455 points with also 3 out of 6 events. And there is your top 20, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, there's a couple of Queenslanders, there's a couple of South Australians, there's a couple of New South Welsh, well, that's a lot of New South Welshmen, and a couple of Victorians up in there as well. So what do we think of that top 20 so far, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of like the players spread, that it's starting to spread out across the country, and hopefully as it continues more and more events come in from other parts of the country, it'll be good to see more players from each state up in the top 20. Now, we are doing the top 20 rankings until the ITC decide to start doing the faction rankings. If they even do them at all this year, we're not 100% certain at this stage. All right, so now we're going to get into the events that have occurred, and I believe there's like 11 events that have happened. Now, there is one that we missed in the March snapshot, but that's because the event wasn't submitted into BCP. Now, I'm going to say this now. If you're in a local community and you want to have your event featured, whether it's coming up or it's been, make sure that your tournament organizer is getting the event up in BCP and registered for the ITC as quickly as they can. That way, I'm able to advertise the event here on the network and be able to tell you guys that, hey, if you want to get ITC points, this is where you can get them. We got some love from Jim Tack for the South Aussies. Yep, there's a couple up there, which is awesome to see. So the first event we have got is the Gladiator Gaming Teams event that occurred on the 4th and 5th of March. They had 22 teams of 5 players, meaning there was 110 players in attendance, being a major level event. In first place, now, if you do listen to the normal blokes, you may have already heard about this team, and it's a very funny name. The Maximus Decimus Drink Beers With Us name that was come up by one of the guys in this team. But this team went first place. You have Alex the Greek with Adeptus Mechanicus, Brody Middleton with Asher Militarum, Liam Hackett on Necrons, Luke Pierce on Dark Angels, and Sam Rubino on Drakari. So having 3 of the 8 guys, well, 3 of the 13 guys actually that are involved with Team Australia on that team, it's no surprise that they did so well. Then in second place for this one, you have Ethos, which is Eric Lathuris's team. You have Dan Savage playing Chaos Demons. You have Eric, of course, playing his Gene Stealer Cult. Nick Standing playing Adeptus Custodes. Paul Gurney playing Iron Hands. And Stephen Wade playing Leagues of Votan. And then in third place, you had the Chad Vic Tosman. That was Dean Simback running Black Legion. Dylan Cowan running Dark Angels. Jeremy Martino running Adeptus Sororitas. Matt Morrisoli running Chaos Demons, and Stuart Trainer also running Gene Stealer Cults. So, really exciting to see that even in the teams event, where you can only take one faction per team, there's still a variety of armies being taken. But if you have a look in each of them, there is 2 Space Marine factions that are common. Dark Angels or Iron Hands, and they're quite popular at the moment. The rest kind of differ depending on what the teams were wanting to take and the players' strengths. So, because the only other faction that you see double of is Gene Stealer Cult. So, really interesting to see that there as well. Next up, we do come to CoastCon, which happened down in Portland, Victoria. This was a 16 teams doubles event, so 2 players per team, and I believe it was 1,500 points for each player on a 3,000 point game. So 32 players total across the 11th and 12th of March. Now, in first place, you have Team Mad Snake, which was Lachlan Morrison and Michael Hamilton, both of them playing Iron Hands. Then you have the Procreating Pandas, which was Ashley Cross and Ben Nickrod. Ash was running Zinch Demons, and then Ben was running Iron Hands as well. Daz himself, welcome in. Yeah, 3K was wild, but it was a doubles, and I know the TO, Adam, he was wanting to run something a bit different, still counted as rankings and such as well, which, you know, that's great to see. And then in third place, you had Bone Daddies and the Homeless, which you'll get why when I tell you the factions. So you had 40 Mogos on Necrons and Justin Meddings, I should say, on Astra Militarum. So Bone Daddies are the Necrons, Homeless are the Astra Militarum, because Katie is gone. So then we start to get into some of the singles events. There are a couple more teams in here as well. So in number 3 for the third event that we've had since is the Calling the Banners RTT run by the Risky Rollers that was on the 18th and 19th of March. It was a 25 player. I believe it wouldn't classify as GT, it's got to be over 32 players, so it's still considered an RTT for ITC scores. However, it was a 2-dayer. So you've got Dylan Cowan playing Dark Angels here, you've got Dean Simbeck, who is running World Eaters in second, and then Jason Horn on Tyranids in third. Now, Dylan did post up some great scores over the weekend, getting 2 100s, a 93, a 94, and 77, being the only undefeated player, and only dropping 13, I think that's 36 points across 5 games. That is actually a really strong showing there. You then got Dean Simbeck, who did go down round 2, but the rest of his results were all above 88 points. So we got 97 round 1, 95 round 3. You've got 89 in round 4 and 100 in round 5 with the 74-point loss. So he ends up dropping 26, 37, 45 points total. So a fair amount of points dropped there, but still really good showing with the World Eaters. And then Jason Horn managed to get consistently above the 80s. He got an 81, 2 94s, an 88, and an 81-point loss as well in round 4. So again, he's probably dropped over about 50 points there. Junos, welcome in. ITC classifications are dead. Log leave the UTC. Yes, brother. Yes. All right, next up we come to the Tasmanian Team Championship. So a lot of states are having their team championships at the moment, with ATC right around the corner at the start of next month. So the Tasmanian Team Champs was on the 18th and 19th of March as well, that had 14 teams of 4 players, being a 56-player GT for the rankings. Team number 1 that came in first place with Balls on Chin, what a name, of course. And when you get the players on there, you'll understand why. You've got Matt Morrisoli with Chaos Demons. You've got Augustus Hebblewhite with Eldari, Stuart Trainer with Gene Stealer Colts, and Nick Argent with Chaos Knights. So no Imperium whatsoever in that team at all, and they pulled it off. In number 2 spot, you had Born Again Virgins. I know, another name. Some of these guys come up with some funny stuff. You have Adam Douglas, who was playing Emperor's Children, Alex B, who was playing Ashmel Taram, Shannon Butters playing Asayani, and Tyler Walsh playing Dark Angels. And yes, Jim Tack, the nice Tasmania joke there. Nice Tassie joke. On the bucket list for you, Daz. Nice. Love to see that. And then you've got, in third place, you have Team Potato, which was Paul Gurney playing Necrons, Joshua Brody playing Chaos Demons, Tim Sutherland, I'll scroll this down for you guys, Tim Sutherland playing Thousand Suns, and Braden Killaby Francis playing Dark Angels. So kind of a mix of different players from various states there, I believe. Or it could just be a full New South Wales team. Happy to be corrected there. Oh, my nose run like a sieve, chat, so I apologize if I'm sniffling at all into the mic. All right. The next one up is the Game Center Narellan Monthly 40K Tournament. So this was an RTT of 18 players on the 18th of March. How fitting. So you had Nathan Princey coming in first place with Adeptus Custodes, putting up a 93, a 97, and a 92 in terms of his scores. You then have Andrew Sherman in second place with Death Skull Orcs, putting up a 76, an 84, and an 88. All wins there, so the top 2 players just went down to battle. Autumn is the worst for hay fever. Hey, Scotty, I don't think it's hay fever. Maybe I do have hay fever now. I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. And then in third place, we've got Ben Tinker with Goth Orcs. So in the top 3, you have got 2 Orc players in there. And Andrew Sherman's been a long time Orc player, so it's great to see him up there. Too many nose beers from Daz. Oh, geez, mate. Not like some of his. But he posted a 90-point draw, a 92-point win, and an 87-point win. So 2 wins and a draw. Don't read that on stream. Hey, you put it in chat, it's going to get read on stream, mate. So then we come to the next one, which is the SA 40K circuit. They've got 3 events in a row here. Yeah, 90-point draw. Big draw there, for sure. So you've got the SA 40K Circuit Acolyte A tournament that was on the 19th of March. This one was a 22-player RTT. Now, I'm probably going to mess up Brad's last name, but bear with me. So you've got Bradley Bujera, I believe is how you may pronounce it, playing Thousand Suns, posting a 96, a 95, and a 97, which means he only dropped 12 points out of 3 games with Thousand Suns, meaning that one of the worst factions currently at GT level, Thousand Suns actually can perform well with a good pilot. Then you've got Jono Bishop in 2nd place, going undefeated as well with Tau Empire, posting a 97, a 76, and a 95-point win. So that's close to about 30 points, just over 30 points dropped from all 3 games. And then in the 3rd space, you have got Ben Reggett with Ash Militarum posting a 65, an 87, and a 71-point win. So all top 3 were all undefeated, and it was just the battle points that separated them. So,
the Emperor's finest reporting.
Chaplain coming
Hello
in
and thank you.
with the 21-month Tier 1 resub on the ATW, and really appreciate your support, Chaplain. Welcome in to you, and thank you, good sir. Really appreciate your support. Hope you are doing well. So the next event we're going to be looking at is the SA Circuit Acolyte B tournament on the 19th of March as well. 18 players in this one. You have Sam Marshall coming first with Iron Hands, putting up a 99, an 85, and an 87-point win, meaning that he dropped just under 20 points total between his 3 games. In 2nd place, you have Shane Miller, who is running Adeptus Mechanicus with a 93, 87, and 97-point wins, which means he only ended up dropping about 13 points total as well. So really, 23 points total, I should say. 23 points total. So decent score there, but not too much between him and Sam Marshall to kind of differentiate them in terms of battle points. Then in 3rd place, you have Brad MC, who is running Ash Militarum as well, putting up a 98-point win, an 82-point loss, but a 97-point win after that as well. So putting up some solid scores. An 82-point loss is a brutal loss. Maybe played Shane round 2, quite possibly. And then the 3rd one for them is the Neophyte tournament that had 16 players on the 19th of March. It was an RTT. You had Lee Clark with Grey Knights putting up an 80 and 287-point wins, showing that Grey Knights can still perform quite well in the meta currently. In 2nd place, you had Marcus Butler, who was running Leagues of Votan with putting up an 82, a 62, and an 88, a 62, and 83-point win. And then you had Ben Wan, who was running Tyranids, losing his first game to 61 points, but winning 91 and 86 on his following 2. Then we come to the Good Games Maitland RTT on the 25th of March. This had 16 players in attendance. We have Todd Wedmeyer, who was running World Eaters. Now, we did see Todd running Salamanders at the Dice Arcade GT, and that game is up on the YouTube channel as well if you do want to check that out. Now, Todd managed to put up an 81, an 80, and a 99-point win for each of his rounds, doing really well there. Then we've got Gary Morris playing Leagues of Votan, again, one of the top players at the moment in the top 20, as we said, putting up 100, a 98, and a 76-point draw for his last game against Kyle Pearson, who put up 197 and the 76-point draw, who was playing Goth Orcs as well. So really doing quite well there for both of those players to just tie against each other and lock up 1 and 2. 2 and 3. Todd won the first place. Then we come to another teams event, which was the War for Glory doubles tournament on the 26th of March. So it was 18 teams of 2 with 36 players in attendance, but it was an RTT level event. You have the Antimatter Meteor team, who is, and I'm probably going to butcher some names here, chat, so please forgive me if you are in chat and you're on this list. You have John Frazkali running World Eaters, and then James Mann running Astra Militarum. In second place, you have Lost in the Mail, which was Nate Mail and Sean Mail. Nate was playing Necrons and Sean was playing Tau. And then you have Culture Gaming, which was Hassan Gurez running Grey Knights and Chris Colwell running Zinch Demons. And then we come to the big one. We all know the Down Under 40K major that happened on the weekend. It was streamed live here on the ATWN with Jack on the ground doing commentary, with Sam joining him on Saturday, and I was doing a bit of tech behind the scenes when I could as well. We have, it was a major level event with 98 players in the end over the 1st and 2nd of April. The man himself, Eric Lothorus with Gene Stealer Colts, came in first place. I think he dropped less than 10 points. I think he dropped 9 points total. He put up 298s, and 3 98s, 2 100s, and a 97. So it means that he's dropped 9 points out of 6 games. He's on stream for the last game against Chris Wright, and he beat Adam Napier early on. That was his 97-point win. So really strong showing there. In second place, we have Will Milton, who is running Dark Angels, he came in second place at the tournament. With 100 points for his first game, 72-point loss for his second, and then 97 for rounds 3 and 4, 96 for round 5, and 100-point win for round 6. So starting off strong, finishing strong. Love to see it. So really good showing there from Will. And then you got Mr. Matt Morrisoli running Chaos Demons, able to go 5-1 here, with his only loss being a 77-point loss, and all of his wins were above 90 points with a 90, 94, 95, 96, and 98-point wins. Consider it was a 100-player major, and these guys scored so highly, it's no wonder they're at the top of their game at the moment. With both Eric being an ex-WTC player, Matt being on the current team as well. I believe Will is on the Queensland team for the ATC as well as Team Australia, I believe. So, yeah, it's really exciting to see some really top players coming out of Australia and not just staying within their state and playing, but traveling to these larger events as well. You have then got the last event that we have got for today's snapshot, which is the Dragon's Lair Acolyte RTT that was in South Australia. I believe it happened on the 2nd of April. I didn't note down the date, unfortunately, so I could be wrong as well. But it was a 22-player RTT. You had Michael Wood playing Khorne, putting up 3 wins in first place, going 2 100s and an 80. Now, I'm not certain if that's going to be World Eaters and Khorne Demons, or whether that's just Khorne Demons with Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines with Khorne Demons allied and purely being Khorne, or however it is. I'm not certain. I didn't have a look at the list, unfortunately. This week's been a bit hectic. Then we have James Mann coming in with Imperial Knights, jumping on with 3 wins again of 99, 93, and 82. So some really solid scores there. And then in third place, you have Ben Wan with Tyranids, putting up a 94 and 80 for his wins, and then an 85-point draw to lock his place in for third place. Good to see Tyranids up there as well, but that's a lot of events that have happened, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a lot of diversity there. What do we think of the meta that we've seen across the country at the moment? What have you seen in New South Wales? What do you think the prevailing super factions are at the moment? And I'm not just talking like, Imperium, Chaos, Xenos. I'm talking go a bit deeper into Xenos, go Eldari, go Hivemind. In Imperium, differentiate between Space Marines and Imperium. Chaos also do the same, differentiate Chaos, Space Marine style factions and the rest of the Chaos side of things. I really think, and I said this in the last snapshot, and this just continues the evidence, that the game is in such a healthy state. And that any faction can do very well with how it is all running. So it's really exciting to see. I'm super happy with how the tournament scene is going and how many events. We look at last month, there was about 10 events that had already happened Here we've got 12. The ones that we've got coming up, there's 10 on the list. There's so many. And there are so many big events happening as well. It is absolutely phenomenal to see. But ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into talking about the tournaments that are coming up, I want to let you know about a couple of things here on the ATWN. If you aren't already, feel free to follow us on our social media channels, where we do produce a lot of content, whether that's going to be work in progress for myself in terms of hobbying, short form content. We've got YouTube videos out, the games from tournaments on the YouTube channel, as well as a bunch of stuff that we've got Alex the Greek with us doing the 40K Academy side of things as well as a bunch of stuff we've got coming up. And then the big exciting piece of news that I'm excited to share with you is that we have officially opened up pre-orders for ATWN objective markers. Now, if you head over to our Ko-Fi page, you can purchase a set if you are based within Australia. The cost does include postage within Australia, so it is $50 Australian for a set of 6 neoprene objective markers with the ATWN logo on them. You can check them out there. Also, if you do enjoy the content that we are producing here on the network and you don't particularly feel like subscribing to Twitch, because Twitch does take 50% of all sub revenue, you can head over to the Ko-Fi page, and from as little as $4 Australian a month, you can support the network and what content we are creating. And there is various tiers with various levels of benefit as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the tournaments that we have got coming up over the next month or so as well. Oh, man. This nose is just killing me, chat. Absolutely killing me. So first one up is we have got the AMM Friendly Easter Bash RTT that's in South Australia, which is happening this weekend on the 8th of April. So if you go into that, good luck. Have some fun on your long weekend. Then we have got the Vic Masters. Now, the Vic Masters is an invitational tournament. I believe the top 16 in the state are in attendance for that one. It is the 15th and 16th of April. So if you are attending and you're one of the top players, good luck. Have some great fun against people who are at the same caliber or around that same caliber of players yourselves, and get some great games in. Then the third one up, we've got Clash of the Titans. This is happening in Cherrybrook, New South Wales. It is a 56-player GT level event, and I can confirm that it is being streamed here on the ATWN next week, and it's really exciting to have another event from New South Wales on the network. So I believe there may be a couple of tickets left. I'm not 100% certain, but awesome event run by one of our network members. Jack Lavercombe is one of the TOs. You've also got Lee Connor, as the other TO there as well, running things. So really awesome to see another New South Wales event that's just popping off not too far after the major. In the fourth event we've got coming up is Radicalism 2023. This is a 100-player major that is already sold out. I believe there's also a pretty hefty wait list for this one. It is a major event down in Ballarat, Victoria on the 22nd and 23rd of April. Then we have got the next Down Under 40K Sydney RTT. A bit different. It's being based in Sydney rather than up in Medowie, with 30 players out at French's Forest on the 22nd of April. So if you haven't jumped on that one and you want to go play, that would be a great opportunity if you're in Sydney and you aren't wanting to travel to a bigger event and you're wanting to get a single day's worth of 40K in. In sixth spot, you've got Winter Warfest. Now, this is a 60-player major up in Ipswich, Queensland, running on the 29th and 30th of April. So it's great to see Queensland putting on a big event earlier on in the year with 60 players in attendance. I believe it's also sold out. Like, a lot of these events are sold out quite well in advance. Here in Australia, we do like months of lead time, so people can plan travel, people can plan accommodation. So if you're watching from overseas, very similar to what happens in the States with frontline gaming events as well. The next tournament that is happening on the same weekend is the Squad Games Teams Tournament. It is 8 teams of 4 players at Mount Waverley in Victoria. I believe it's being run by the Risky Rollers guys as well on the 30th of April, so only a single day up. But still, 8 teams of 4. That's 32 players. If they were to stretch it to 2 days, that'd be a GT. Then another big one is the Gladiator Gaming Doubles GT that's happening up in Loganholme, Queensland on the 6th and 7th of May. This also coincides with the Australia-New Zealand Team Championships that are happening in the same location on the same day on the 6th and 7th of May. So if you don't know about the ANZ Team Champs, what this is that every state sends a team of 8 players and maybe a coach or maybe 1 or 2 support staff go with them just to kind of make sure the teams go well, and they compete against each other in 5 rounds to see who is the best team from each of the states across the country. I believe there's also a New Zealand team coming across, or an amalgamation of a couple of New Zealand players and a couple of mercenaries. But it's really good to see the New Zealanders coming across to play some 40K as well. You know, you had Finn Decker at the Down Under 40K major as well. So it's great to see some cross-pollination between our friends across the pond. And then you have got the Combat Company GT, which is 26 players, happening in Mortdale, New South Wales on the 27th and 28th of May. So that does mean May's a bit quiet. So if you do have an event in May that you've already got scheduled, let me know or get it up in BCP as soon as possible. So then when we do the May snapshot, we can promote it and get you guys some more players for your event. But really exciting to see 10 events coming up in the next month and a bit, almost 2 months worth. When we get into the back end of the year, that's when New South Wales ramps it up. Everyone else kind of stays steady throughout the year, but New South Wales just goes nuts in the back end. So it's really exciting to see how everything is coming together for the ITC season. How are you guys feeling about the ITC season so far in chat? Hope you guys are loving the events that you've been to, as well as all the, you know, the coverage that we're doing here on the ATWN, and we're hoping to just continually expand that as well. So we're able to bring you more events, particularly throughout the back end of the year, as there is so many. And it's going to be really exciting. I'm really excited to see how the rankings end up for the year as well. And I believe, just so you guys know, the dates for Adelaide Uprising have been announced. So if I just go forward to them, I believe it is going to be the 26th, 27th, and 28th of January next year. I'm not sure if Daz in chat could confirm if that's the case. But yeah, so if you are keen on getting it to Uprising, make sure you save that date. Save up some annual leave or some, you know, if you want to throw the sickies, sure. But annual leave to get down there. We're hopefully going to be able to make it this year to stream the tournament, which will be absolutely phenomenal, and probably stream the presentation as well if we can get things coordinated for that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap us up for the ITC snapshot for the South Pacific for April. I hope you have enjoyed the information we've been sharing about the rankings of the tournaments that are going on, the meta overall, as well as the events that are coming up in Australia. It's great to see so many events across the southeastern seaboard as well. Now, these are streamed live on the ATWN Twitch channel, generally the first week of the month, where you can catch them. So make sure you're following our socials so you can check that out. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you in the next snapshot.